This fish is gold, but it wasn't always that way. When we first started getting golden tilefish in our seafood market, it took a little bit of convincing for our customers to want to start eating this fish. But after they tried it one time, they were hooked. We're gonna tear out our bucket to weigh this beautiful fish. A tear is just making sure your scale is at 0, even though it has weight on top of it. Now we're gonna drop this gorgeous golden tilefish right in there. We've got a 31.54 pound golden tilefish. That is an absolute massive golden tilefish for Southeast Florida. In the seafood world, the bigger a fish, the more expensive. And golden tilefish is no different. This is considered a jumbo, and jumbos have a higher market value. First thing we're gonna do before cutting them up is take all the scales off. I do know people that like cooking these with skin on scales on. They pour hot oil over the skin, it puffs up, makes the scales brittle, and it's delicious, but most customers want the scales removed or the skin off, so we're gonna scale it first. When golden tilefish first started becoming commercially available in South Florida, we had to convince customers to try it. There's 3 reasons why we knew all they had to do is try it once and they'd be hooked. Number 1, golden tilefish has a beautiful white flesh. When customers see white meat fish, they assume it's gonna be mild tasting, and they're often right, and that sells itself. Number 2 is golden tilefish has a fluffy, light texture, which they wouldn't be able to find out until they try it. Number 3, golden tilefish has a mild flavor with a subtle sweetness. They're feeding on deep water crustaceans and mollusks that give a subtle sweetness to this fluffy white meat, and it's absolutely phenomenal. We don't like fresh water touching the meat of our fish, but before we cut it, fresh water is totally fine because it is protected by the skin and the membrane in the belly. Oh, that is such an absolutely gorgeous fish. This fish costs us so much money. We want to get every drop out of it. We're gonna pick up the fin, puncture right underneath the collarbone, and slide out. Flip it around, and you can see this bone poking out right there. We're gonna outline that right behind the head. They've got this chunk of meat behind the head right here that you do not want to miss out on. Then we're gonna take the tip of our knife, go right at that opening, and we're gonna slide all the way down on top of the dorsal fin. We're gonna rest our knife right on top of the backbone and pull towards the head. After we do that first pass, you might be to the center, you might not be. Stick your knife right in there and do one more pass, making sure you're all the way to the center. Flip your knife around, get to the tail, tip of the knife, go to the top of the spine, just like that. Now we're gonna come back around, make a little cut right there that's going to release the meat behind the head. Tip of the knife, base of the ribs, angle it slightly up, separate the connection the pin bones make to the ribs, just like that. Now we can lift up on this entire high loin without the meat getting big tears in the fillet. We're also not getting any tears in the loin right here because we went to the top of the spine right there. If you didn't draw your knife all the way to the top of the spine, it would be pulling on the meat as you lift up. Now we can stick the tip of our knife on the other side of that tall spine and hit the other side. Feel the backbone with your knife. That way it looks like this, just perfectly scraped bones. Feel those rib bones with your knife. Once you get to the bottom of the ribs, you can see the rib bone poking out right here. You can cut straight down. And there's your gorgeous golden tilefish fillet. Now these ribs right here are not trash. On jumbo golden tilefish, there's good meat on those ribs and we're not gonna miss out on them. And this right here is why this fish is so popular. Look how gorgeous that meat is. You can see these lines right here. Those are big rolling flakes that are gonna have good moisture between each flake. These golden tilefish are feeding on shellfish in super deep water that gives a subtle sweetness to its clean white meat. Absolutely phenomenal fish. So we're gonna take our scissors, go to the base of those ribs, and they're gonna cut right out. The commercial fisherman that caught this fish is actually a personal friend of mine. These fish get slushed and gutted right away. And look at those ribs right there. That is absolutely delicious meat between those bones. All right, now we're gonna cut up the second side and then trim it all up, show you all the different parts of the fish and the yield that we get off the fish and the value of the different pieces. If you were to look up fishing for golden tilefish, you might not like the targeted ads that follow. That's why I use DuckDuckGo. Targeted ads have been ruining my browsing experience and have raised some concerns for privacy in general. DuckDuckGo has powerful search and AI, but your questions and data stay private. If you use Google search or Chrome browser, your personal information is probably exposed. Millions of people already choose DuckDuckGo over Chrome or Google. That way they can browse, but with an extra layer of protection. DuckDuckGo believes the best way to protect your information is not to collect it at all. It helps protect your personal information from being sold, stolen, harvested for profit, or otherwise exploited by hackers, scammers, and invasive companies. Also has built-in search engine that works like Google, but it never tracks your searches. You're not forced into AI being a part of your search, but if you want it, it's there anytime you need it. You can hit generate answers and you'll just get an AI answer incredibly quickly with sources that you can check out. The DuckDuckGo browser is free. Download DuckDuckGo and take back control of your personal information. Go behind the head at an angle, make sure we don't lose out on that forehead meat. Twist our fish around. Now just like the other side, we're gonna put the tip of our knife right at that opening and we're gonna slide all the way down. We're gonna push in the fish a little bit. It's gonna rise the backbone just a little bit. Rest our knife right on top of that bone and slide down. Twist our knife around, release the head meat just like that. Now we wanna go to the top of that spine. So we're gonna do the tip of our knife just like that, go to the top of that spine. Tip of the knife, base of the ribs, angle it slightly up, separate the connection the pin bones make to the ribs, just like that. Now we can do a full lift on that high loin without tearing up the meat. Now we're gonna dip the tip of our knife on the other side. Once we have a little bit of opening, you can rest a little bit more knife on that bone. Now on the second side, going over these really tall ribs, rest your knife right on top of those rib bones and slide down as you pull away at the same time. Once you're at the bottom of those ribs, cut straight down. Now we got all the ribs right there, none of them on our fillet, and we can stick the tip of our knife out just like that, little flick, and boom. There's the second side of our gorgeous golden tilefish. If you don't have scissors, you can also use a serrated knife. Everyone's got a serrated knife right at the base of those ribs. Got 2 rack of golden tilefish ribs. We're gonna rip this head off, use those eye sockets as a good grip, give it a good smack, flip it over, one more good smack. The head will just pop right out, just like that. Now this skeleton meat is absolutely phenomenal for soups and stocks, so is the head. In each of these discs, in the backbone, there's gelatin that is rich of collagen, great for you. Cook it down, make a phenomenal soup. These collars are absolutely delicious. Big cheeks in these tilefish. We're gonna puncture right there on that line, and we're gonna outline, go right underneath that lip, lift up, twist our knife around, use just this part of your knife right here to go in and scoop. Once you get all the meat that's on top of that lip right there, you can kind of pull on that cheek. And at the top, close to the eye, is where it's connected by this white membrane. Just make a nice, long, smooth incision. You separate that connection to that membrane, and the whole thing slides out, just like that. Flip it over and repeat the process. We're gonna go right at that line, slide all the way down underneath the lip, flip our knife around, separate off the rest of it, and then the rest just peels right off, just like that. Gorgeous bright red gills show how fresh the fish is. Puncture underneath the gills, slide underneath the throat. Once you do that to both sides, you can take scissors and snip down right in front, and then this whole portion releases. You've got this piece of bone right behind the head, resting right on top of the collarbone. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna slide our knife right underneath that bone, and that will just release this collar. And just like that, you've got a bone-in golden tilefish wing. This is an absolute phenomenal part of the fish. Trim it up just a little bit, get a good grip on that membrane. Look how pretty the meat is. In this one wing, you've got multiple different cuts of meat. You've got this meat right here, that is the pec fin meat. Then you have this meat right here, that is the collar meat. And then you have this right here, which is the throat. And each one of those is gonna have a slightly different texture and flavor. And when you cook them all in one piece, it is such a great meal. We're gonna puncture the skin and throat right there. We're gonna puncture it on the other side, just like that. And you're going to be able to get a good grip as you cut on top of the tongue. After you trim off the skin and peel away the membrane, this is a phenomenal part of the fish. And even after doing all of that, there's still good meat on this head that you can only get after steaming or boiling, and the meat will just fall away. Great for soups and stocks. All right, now we're gonna trim this up for what we're going to sell and display as top dollar at the seafood market. We're gonna separate the belly. Right here, you've got a great displayable fillet, but what's gonna happen is the customer's gonna order a pound. I'm gonna cut a pound, eyeball the high loin, it's gonna be right about there. And then after I cut that pound off, you've got a pin bone line right here and a little chunk of meat here. We're gonna go on the inside of that pin bone line, just like that. And this chunk of meat is essentially wasted. I mean, we don't waste it, we'll find something to do with it. Soups, dips, whatever. And there's the pin bone line. But that's not gonna be able to be sold as top dollar. The customers want this beautiful pound piece. So the next customer asked for a pound, and I cut a pound off. We're gonna have this piece right here that's less than perfect looking. We're gonna give the customers this perfect pound piece right there. Well, 1.01, not quite perfect, but close. Now that there's a little bit more body to the low loin, we're gonna start including that as our pound pieces for our customers as they order them until we get to the tail. And often the tail, at least the tip of it, is gonna end up in the smoker as well or into ceviche, soups. You know, we find ways to not waste any of the fish. If you're gonna fillet a fish, this is how you don't waste a single drop. But some people love cooking this fish whole, like one of our regular customers, James at Nicholson Muir. Chef James is a proclaimed meat sommelier and owner of Nicholson Muir. So I brought Chef James over a gorgeous whole golden tilefish. I butterflied it, opening up. He whipped up a gorgeous marinade and slathered it all over this beautiful fish. Chef James is a master of an Argentinian style of cooking using indirect heat from hot coals. This will be my first time ever trying golden tilefish cooked this way, and I can't wait to try it. There's no wondering why Chef James thinks golden tilefish is gold. This was absolutely phenomenal. Thanks for watching. Have a killer day.